No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey gardeners, how y'all doing this week? I hope everything's growing great in your gardens. I'm just out here checking out our different pepper plants. We got some nice ones ripening up here. This big old bell right there. But check this out. I haven't grown tomatillos in quite a while, a few years. And for some reason, the soil has kicked up a seed this year and growing right out of our pepper pot. We've got some tomatillos here growing. I don't think they're gonna get fully ripe or big enough, but strange friends in the garden, because this pepper plant is probably one of our best pepper plants and biggest ones that we've got growing. Still putting off new peppers too, but growing right out of it and sharing the pot is this tomatillo. So that's pretty crazy. You got to kind of like nature. It really is kind of something. All right, everybody, let's get growing. All right. Welcome, all of my garden enthusiasts and passionate plant people to the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today, and we've got a great show for you today. Here a little bit later on in the show, we will be joined by our good friend, Wendy Phan from Wendy Land. She'll be joining with us, catch up on what's been growing on in her garden. And here in just a few minutes as well, too, we'll be talking with Leighton Morrison. It's all about the biology. So really looking forward to these conversations. So definitely be sure to stay tuned to catch up with all of our great guests today. So definitely, if you are here joining with us right now, definitely hit that thumbs up, click the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification so you can be notified of all of our upcoming live streams and videos. And definitely be sure to share with all of your garden friends out there as well too. Also, a big, huge shout out to all of you who are watching us on our replay. I know there's lots of you out there watching the replay, and definitely get down into our comment section down below. Let me know that you were here. Let me know what you think of the show. If you got any suggestions for any guests later on, or just want to say hi, definitely jump into that comment section down below. And if you do have any questions for us today, or any comments or anything like that, be sure to jump into our chat feature here and ask those questions, and we just might feature them later on the show, especially during our guest segments too, so we can ask those questions of our guests. And definitely as well, check out all of our links that we have down in the description below. There are links for our guests, links for the show, and all of that as well too. So definitely check those out as well. Also, I hope that you guys get back and check last weekend's show. Last weekend, we had such a great time. We kind of took a little turn from gardening just a little bit and talked about beekeeping all weekend. We had some great beekeepers all weekend to talk about that. We last Saturday, we had Cayman Reynolds from Tennessee's Bees joining with us, and just a ton of great knowledge about beekeeping and all of that as well too. Learned a lot about honey and different types of honey that there are out there that I had even no clue about myself too. So there was so much to check out. We also met Jonathan Hargis, the Hive Doctor, as well, for our Are You Following Me segment last week. And he's got a lot of really great things growing on there as well, too, with his bees and everything. And then, of course, we got our Sunday edition of the show. We got to remember that we're on every weekend, Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And last Sunday, we talked with Larissa Kwazak from Beekeeping Made Simple. And again, too, just lots and lots of great conversations all about beekeeping. I also got to go and visit my local Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association, which runs out of our local extension here in Southern Oregon. And it was really, really fun because this was a first for me. And I'd been looking forward to doing this beekeeping weekend for quite a while. And leading up to it, I plan to go and visit the Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association and check out all of their hives and talk with them about what they do there at their association. And I actually got to get into a bee suit. This was the first time I've ever done that, got into a bee suit. And being a kid who has had so much fear about bees and wasps and just, you know, flying things when I was a kid, it was really amazing to me just how I, again, too, and we talked about this last weekend as well with Larissa about turning, you know, your fear into fascination and just kind of stepping back in the garden and seeing what some of these sort of insects and things do in our gardens, because they provide a really important job as well. So it was really kind of fun for me to put don on this bee suit and get out there around all of these beehives and have all these bees just flying around me. And I was just really amazed. I was just thrilled as all can be about the whole experience, and especially just being able to get right there to look into these beehives and check out how they actually work in person. I've seen tons of different bee videos before in the past years. I've got a good friend, Florida, who's a good beekeeper down there and all that, but that's as close as I've ever gotten was through some videos here on YouTube. So to see it in person was just absolutely amazing. So definitely go back and check out those shows from last weekend's shows if you're interested in beekeeping at all, because those were really, really fun. Also, I do want to mention that we have our monthly gardening book club, and this month's book club selection is How to Become a Gardener by Ashley Thomas. This is such a great book. We've talked with Ashley before on the show. Just really, really enjoy this book. I really, really enjoy the conversation with Ashley, and just really great. I hope that all of you come and join with us. And remember, that's every third Sunday of the month, and that will be October 20th coming up, that we will be doing our book club and hanging out. And two, this is just really one of the fun things about doing this book club this year is that, you know, most book clubs, you read a book, you get together with all your friends in your book club in someone's living room and, you know, have some snacks and stuff and talk about what you think about the book. We get to do that a little bit on another level here on the Let's Get Growing show. Is we get to talk with our authors. And I get to have my good friend Mark Boucher Colbert come and co-host with us too, because he loves garden books just as much as I do. And so we've been having lots and lots of fun with this book club and getting to talk with all of these great authors about their different books too. So again, to come and check out our book club with Ashley Thomas on October 20th. I also kind of want to mention too here as well, and we're going to get we are just a little ahead on this, but I just wanted to start kind of letting the word out about it. But each and every year, and I've done this well before we got started here with the Let's Get Growing show, is on Halloween, we get together on Halloween night for a fun special Halloween hangout live stream. And we get to watch the original 1960s classic version of The Little Shop of Horrors that was done by Roger Corman, and actually stars. It's one of Jack Nicholson's first movies that he was in. And so this is a really fun hangout as well. We also play after that. You know, we get together, we kind of have to have some conversation and talk, and then we watch the movie and we'll hang out in the chat while we're all handing out our treats to the kids in the neighborhood. And then after the first movie, we'll have another chat or so. And for those who want to hang out again for another version of the the Little Shop of Horrors, we'll watch a theatrical version of the Little Shop of Horrors as well too. It's just one of my favorite theater shows. In fact, it was like the first one I ever got to see when I was a kid. I got to go to a really cool theater up in Washington. I was living up there, and got to see this musical theater, just spectacle. And they did a really, from what I remember anyways, they did a really great job with Audrey the plant and everything, and it was just a really wonderful experience. I've actually since then have seen the theater version of Little Shop of Horrors several times throughout the years, and it's just one of my favorites. And I love to get together with each of you every Halloween evening for our Halloween hangout and to watch these fun movies and the theater version of that Little Shop of Horrors. And it's great to hang out with all of you as well too. So if you're just hanging out at home and you're just handing out treats to the kids, like I said, definitely come and jump on with us and hang out and watch the Little Shop of Horrors. It's really, really fun. So I look forward to seeing all of you then as well too. So yeah, we got lots and lots of things growing on right now. As you saw, we got there still picking peppers out of the garden. I've got some tomatillos now. Again, they probably aren't going to grow or get very big at all, but tons of stuff that's still coming out of there. I'm actually having to start taking down vines and everything as we're pulling them, like pulling some of our pumpkins are all ready to go, that we're going to be handing out and giving out to some kids for their Halloween as well too. We've got all the squash vines and all of these cucumber vines. I've been pulling off cucumbers that are still coming up too, growing everywhere and all of that. So here real soon, it's going to be a big garden cleanup is actually what's going to have to start taking place, as we're really moving towards fall. And actually been noticing out there as well too, a lot of our lettuces are starting to pop up as well too. One of the things I always tell people about growing lettuce, I have a few different varieties that I really enjoy and grow each and every year, and anymore we just let them volunteer. So I'll harvest up my lettuce in the spring, and as it's starting to move towards summer, and I'll always leave one or two of each of the varieties that I grow and let them go to seed, and then let that seed fall around, collect some of the seed for next spring, and then by fall it's all starting to grow back up again as the weather starts to cool down a bit. And so we got a bunch of different varieties of lettuce that are going crazy out there. Actually got to kind of start weeding around some of them a little bit. Some spinach and everything, I saw a few of those plants are popping up as well too, as we're starting to get some cooler nights. But our weather though too is still actually staying pretty warm around here. So we're actually in the 80s still right now, as we're about ready to start moving into October. So for us in Southern Oregon, that's actually a pretty warm late summer for us. But I really enjoy a nice summer. It's really great to have it all come a little bit later, but also at the same time I really do enjoy that transition into fall. When you're a gardener, you just really love those seasonal transitions and what that means for what you're doing in your garden next. So definitely looking forward to all of the fall things that are starting to grow and the things that we're getting out there. In fact, one of the things I do as well too is we grow our Brussels sprouts, and I get those started off well into early August or so, and in late June. And then what we try to do is just kind of survive that period of time, and then they just really start taking off as the weather starts cooling. And that's one of the things I was just noticing when I was out there a little bit earlier, is that it's really starting to take off and getting some new leaves and all that sort of stuff too. And some of our other brassicas as well are just starting to enjoy that cooler weather. So I'm looking forward to that, because I haven't had much success, and believe me, it's not very easy to grow Brussels sprouts. They can be very troublesome, especially when it comes to pests. I mean, they attract more pests than anything I've ever grown in the garden. So that's one of the things that we really got to do, is make sure that we're watching out and keeping them healthy, so that they can really start to take off and really grow here in our fall and our cooler season. So, all right, we've got some really great guests ahead here for us today. As I mentioned, we got Wendy Phan coming up here in just a little bit. And right here after the break, we'll meet Leighton Morrison from It's All About the Biology. Let's Get Growing is sponsored by IV Organic.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Sarah's Seed Shop, here with this week's trivia question. Which of the following has been known by many different names, including wolf peach and love apple? A. Strawberries, B. Cantaloupe, C. Tomato, or D. Pepper? We'll be back with the answer a little later in the show.
All right, all right. You know the answer to Sarah's trivia question this week. Definitely jump into the chat. Let us know there, and we'll catch up with her in just a little bit here to check out that answer. Real quick here, let's run through real quick. I want to make sure we say hi to everybody today. We got joining with us, of course, at the top of the show. We want to welcome our facilitator, Jade Dixon, joining with us here and joining us from Ontario, Canada. Thanks for being here, Jay. And let's see here. We got Rick joining us also from Australia, from down under there in the future. Thanks for getting up early with us, Rick. It's good to see you here. Let's see, who else do we got? Oh, Serena, of course, jumping in there. Thanks, Serena. It's great to see you here. I know we got some other folks in here. Our moderator, Adam Burley, joining in with us. He's just right down the road from me. It's great to see you, Adam. And let's see here. What do we got? Bowtie Life in the Garden. Awesome. So great to see all of you here. Thank you all so much for joining with us today. Teats and treats. Hello, fellow dirt diggers. That's right. Absolutely. Right on. And let's see here. See, we got Darth X in here as well, too. Making sure we're saying hi to everybody. Lots and lots of chat going on already. Jersey Girl, thanks for jumping in and saying hi there. If you haven't said hi or jump into the chat there and join the chat, we got a great chat during our conversations here. And again, like I said, if you do have any questions or anything like that for our guests as we're talking with them here, definitely jump into our chat there as well. And if you can, put them in all caps too. All caps really help me see the different questions versus all the other conversation that's going on as well too. So definitely put those in there, and we'll try to get those in, fit those into our conversation. That's another thing too, is that sometimes we can't get them all in, but we definitely try as much as that we can as well too. So definitely thank you so much here. And all right, let's get to seeing who we're going to be following this week.
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. Let's welcome to the show Leighton Morrison from It's All About the Biology. How you doing today, Leighton?
Doing well, my friend. And yourself?
Doing great. Just having a great day today and enjoying the garden out there before I got on the show, and just really looking forward to talking to you all today. So how are things going on for you today?
No complaints. A little confusion this morning, mixed up on appointments, but hey, we'll get it done. You know how that is.
That happens, doesn't it? Especially for us, but as a live show, believe me, we can get some mix-ups here and there for sure as well. But all right, let's dig right into it, Leighton. Let's tell the audience just a little bit more about yourself.
So I am a soil biologist, soil engineer by trade. Prior to COVID, I pretty much traveled the country, doing very large scale projects to small farms, teaching people how to reuse all of the plant material in composting and or vermicomposting, and really getting people excited about how powerful the biology is in the soil, and how it can really help the plants, both with the yields, but also with, pressure, pest pressure.
Hmm. Yeah, that's just such a huge thing. And for me, as you know, I don't know. I definitely don't consider myself any expert gardener or anything like that. And as I've learned over the years more and more about growing and what's important in growing, it really does come down to it. And this is something we do talk about all the time. It's one of the things I love about the name of your channel and everything, is that it really is. It's all about the biology. It's all about the soil, really, when it comes down to it. Good, healthy soil with lots of great life in it is just really optimal for what we're trying to do as gardeners, and that's grow great plants and great harvests, for especially for us food growing gardeners.
Yeah, and then really helps with the nutritional value as well. We've
Yeah.
seen incredible results with the difference between synthetics versus the biological approach.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about, the sort of thing that you do. Again, too, you say that you have a company that deals with soil biology.
Yeah, so my company is Kingdom Aquaponics, and the reason I chose Kingdom was because we have all the kingdoms in the product. So it's a combination of fish muln, which is known as fish manure. Guys, quiet. Worm castings, and then my own biologically complete compost. And then I use what we call soft collision equipment to break off the organic matter, separate out the humic acid, the fulvic acid, and of course all the biology that we're trying to capture. And then we apply that in a liquid, which is basically known now finally as dissolved organic matter or dissolved carbon. And that's really why it works so well, is because that carbon, the existing biology in your soil or in the product, can use it to divide. So as the bacterial species start to plume out, the protozoa, through prey predator, start dividing and consuming the bacteria, releasing all the nutrients that were in those bacteria, plant available in the rhizosphere. So the science is finally starting to catch up with understanding organic matter in terms of, well, let's get specific. Compost is not a product, it's a process, right? So it starts with GOM, ground organic matter. Then it moves into POM, particulate organic matter, and eventually it stabilizes into what's called mineral associated organic matter. And that's the most stable form of carbon that we know of. And that's what's really building that incredible tilth and matrix to hold the plant and provide it with as much nutrients as it wants. So it's, I just recently read a paper where they classified dissolved organic matter, which is fantastic.
Look at that. We got another guest today.
At least they're not barking.
That's great. Look at that face. Love it.
Tito?
This is Tito?
Cheeto. He was a little rescue out of East LA. So I call him my little crip.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Yeah. Your little gangster, right?
Yeah, totally.
That's great. He knows how to be a star of the show right there, huh?
I know, right?
Excellent. Yeah. Again, too, man, I'm just so fascinated when it comes down to it, especially being able to talk with folks like yourself who just really have this really more in-depth knowledge about this sort of stuff. I've got the basic idea, I've got, that I've learned about, soil and the soil life, soil food web and all that sort of stuff that, that exists and all of that. But I think that's just one of the things I've been really liking about your channel and stuff as I've been watching some of your live streams and things that you're doing, is how in depth you get. So if someone wants to really kind of understand a lot of this, what is happening, what are protozoa, what are nematodes, what are all these sort of things that are going on in your soil. I mean, your channel, it's all about the biology, is really the place to go for sure.
Well, thank you for the plug. I try to keep it entertaining, but also educational. I was so blessed to have been able to study under Dr. Lane for 18 months, which really launched my career. And then I
Yeah.
didn't stop learning. I just kept learning more and more because it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, I know. I got to get her on the show. In fact, that's probably the first place I remember early on where I was, they're starting to catch on to the idea of about, thinking about, what do I got to do to make my soil better, other than the simple things I was doing, and started watching some of those videos that Dr. Elaine Ingham has on YouTube, and was just like, it just totally drove my fascination with this whole idea as well too. And it's great to see folks like yourself who are even taking it to that next level as well.
Yeah, I'll never forget when she started talking about carbon chains, and it was just right over my head. And I'm like, all right, I got to understand that. I need to know
Yeah.
this. And that led to, solubilizing bacteria, degraders, as well as decomposers, and how they can actually clean all of the messes that we humans make. The pollution,
Right.
we can resolve it all with these specialized bacteria that start to break those carbon chains down to a point where others can come in and take it to the next level. So I've done some really interesting work with that, and continue to do so.
That's really great. And again, maybe talk about that just a little bit more though too, so maybe people understand that is that
Yeah.
these
So
things that happen happen to our environment, and things that we worry about all the time about that sort of stuff, but the nature really does kind of have some of these solutions already, right?
absolutely. And it's just a matter of using common sense. I.e., if you have a problem with your soil, this is a great example. I was gone for 3 months a couple years back, and my landlady decided that my garden was a little overruly.
Yeah.
So she called me or texted me, "Hey, can I cut it back?" I said, "Yeah, just chop and drop. Like cut it 6 inches so the plant, you don't kill the plant, and just leave all the biomass to help nurture the soil, and those plants will come back." Well, she round up my whole garden. And as a gardener, that's the worst thing you can do to someone's garden
Oh gosh.
heavily dose it with pure Roundup. So what I did is I called a friend of mine, a farmer out in the Midwest, and I said, "Kyle, can you go to the field that has been pounded with herbicides for years? And I want you to find some healthy grass clumps, and I want you to harvest those. I want the root balls, I want the plant, I want everything." And he was like, "Well, I don't even want to know, Lee." So he sent me these 3 root balls, and I basically put them in a bucket of water. I used a concrete vibrator to vibrate the water to basically soften up the root balls so all the soil fell off of it. I took the grass clumps, I threw them in my compost pile. Then I separated out the dirt from the liquid, which was basically, I call it chocolate water, because it's suspended organic matter. It's all another example of dissolved organic matter. And then I just sprayed the whole garden with that, and then reseeded it. Within about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, the garden was fine again. So
Nice.
we know that clumps of grass that could survive the years and years of being pounded by pesticides or herbicides, that it will have the bacteria necessary in its rhizosphere to either turn that Roundup into food source or break it down so it's no longer harming the plant. So biomimicry, right? Just using nature or harvesting things that the biological constituents that you need to fix something. And I can talk about this at length. I've done everything from hydrocarbon cleanups to we did a project with some very, very toxic canes. Canes are the leftover plant from a raspberry or a blueberry plant that had been heavily pesticide growth.
Yeah.
They pound it with NPK, so you get all these pests. So there's a lot of information out there that didn't used to be there. So if you're interested, you can definitely chase that one.
Yeah, definitely go and check out your channel and learn about more of that sort of stuff. Because again, too, I just find that kind of fascinating, because we all worry, and we hear about pesticide use and these sort of things, and to think, and to really understand that there are more real natural solutions, and we can really rebuild that in a lot sooner time than I think a lot of people really believe out there.
Yes, biology is our friend, and we can use
Yeah.
it to leverage a better yield and a healthier food, or we can use it the other way to actually clean up our messes.
Yeah, yeah. So what would you recommend for someone who's just getting started in gardening and just getting going with all of that from that biological perspective of where their frame of mind should be, or what some of the things that they should be thinking about as they're getting their garden going?
That is a great question, and I get it a lot because
Yeah.
I'll do a project with someone, and then one of their friends will call me and say, I know that you just did so and so's project, and I'd love to know more about what it is that you're actually doing because their plants look amazing. And instead of trying to teach them, that's going to take years of my constant conversation with them, I say there's a couple of tools that I really like to get you involved with, and one of them is a documentary called The Symphony of the Soil. I love that movie. It's not like Kiss the Ground or The Biggest Little Farm. There are no
Yeah.
actors. These are just, regular old people talking about, soil fungi, a couple of really cool experiments showing how a, traditional ag field is actually polluting the groundwater versus an organic soil solution. You can pour water in and it comes out crystal clear.
Yeah.
Uh, Great resource for people to learn. And the other is Jeff Lowenfeld's trilogy, teaming with microbes,
Mm.
fungi, teaming with nutrients. And I think he's got another one coming out soon. But if you're a reader,
Cool.
there's use those books as a reference. If you're more of a visual learner, watch that documentary, Symphony of the Soil. And our buddy Elaine is actually in there.
And that's called Symphony of the Soil.
Symphony of the Soil. I think it's
Oh,
free on YouTube right now. I
perfect.
used to tell people to, buy the DVD because you're going to want to watch it a few times, especially if you really have no understanding of what soil is and how it functions. And you're supporting a good cause. And I think it was like $15 at the time. Matter
Right.
of fact, I had a copy of it right here. I keep,
Excellent.
that I keep around just in case I have a client that wants to, watch it a few times.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. And I'm sure our facilitator Jay is probably hot on it right now to try to get everybody a link in the chat right now for that. So definitely check that out. I'm going to check that out for sure too as well.
It's a great tool, my friend. It takes you from 0 to about 80. And then you can really start asking intelligent questions because without the foundation, you don't know where to start, right?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. Serena asked a question here real quick because you mentioned chop and drop. I don't know. So she was asking, was it how small do you cut your plants before mixing into the soil, or do you leave the roots?
Yes, I do not remove roots. If you disturb the soil, you're breaking up the fungi, which is the architect of the soil. So
Yeah.
you can keep that intact, and typically you're also disconnecting the mycorrhizae that's probably there. So
Yeah.
always leave the roots in the ground, and the reason you just chop and drop is that residue, the plant residue that you've left on the soil, is feeding the new microbes, and then continuing to cycle the nutrient back into a more stable form of organic matter. So again,
Yeah.
moving the needle toward mold.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's something I try to completely avoid as well too, is removing any roots or anything, cutting my plants right down in this time of year, especially all my peppers that I have and everything, because you want to do that for sure. So real quick here, let's talk just a little bit more about your channel. It's all about the biology. So what was it that inspired you to start your own channel and
So actually,
start talking about this?
yeah. So I was on Future Canvas Project for a number of years, like 5 years.
Yeah.
And the producer that was handling the behind the scenes work, Ken, decided he wanted to go out on his own and make a go of it. And I had just retired. I basically had said, like, I think I've given all the information I possibly can here. And so I retired from FPC.
Yeah.
And Ken hit me up and said, "Hey, you're not done. You still have a lot of information you can help people with. So if I start a platform, will you come over?" I said, "All right, well, it's got to be a little bit more of a convenient time." So I chose 2 to 4 on Mondays,
Yeah.
my time. So I was not losing a whole day. And so he started the channel. It's all about the biology. He has, I think, 3 or 4 different shows. Mine is called Soil Matters.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved backpacking on that cause, you know, because I think a lot of people realize that, hey, there's all these different groups that matter. Everybody matters, right? But nobody thinks about the soil mattering,
I
right?
know. The most important part.
Right. Everything comes from the soil and everything goes back to the soil. And yet we have no respect for it. So anyway, that's what that's all about. But yeah, it's recorded, so you can actually go back and watch the past episodes or scan the titles to see which ones are.
Yeah. I just was watching one of your recent ones too, and you had a guest on and you're looking right through a microscope and checking out. I was just fascinated with that. It's just something else when you can really get in that deep into the soil. You know, you're just really looking right at these different all this different microbiology that's going on.
We call it a soil safari.
A soil safari, exactly, right?
So, and yeah, it's an interesting world. Like when I first started using the microscope, I really didn't know what the heck I was doing and did not have a lot of direction. Fortunately, I was able to start working in a microscopy lab at Rodale, where Elaine had a bunch of interns. So whenever they said, "Oh, I found something really cool," I'd get a sample of their stuff. And so that I would start to learn like more and more about the organisms that we want to see and the ones that we don't want to see, and the difference between anaerobic and aerobic conditions. So, but it's a whole new world. Once you get behind that microscope and you start to understand what you're looking at, it's hard to walk away. I mean, you can, before you know it, 5 hours has gone by.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I started watching that live stream, and next thing you know, it's like all this time later, and I'm like, I was just fascinated the whole time, just kind of just look. And I'm in there, you know, you're all looking and pointing out things, and I'm all looking out and beyond and trying to see other things as well too. It's just great. Yeah, absolutely. Also, and again too, so everybody, again, we do have links down below to it's all about the biology. And what time again do you say that you're doing your show on there?
It's Monday from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But again, there's tons of recorded episodes. I think we're pushing 30 or so episodes on that channel.
Oh, wow.
Jump back to Future Cannabis Project, and just search my name. There's like probably. We did that weekly for 5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
A lot of information.
That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine 5 years. I've only been doing this weekly for like less than 2 years now.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got,
that's a lot.
Yeah. Long story short, I basically fell into the cannabis community. Oh God, probably 7 years ago, before it really took a turn for the worst. And the reason I liked the cannabis community is because they love their plants. Yeah. They're not like landscapers. They're not like farmers who are just looking for something. They really love their plants. So it was a great, way to jump into a different industry where they understood what I was talking about. It was completely coming out of left field. And so as part of that, there was a lot of what we call bro science, where, one grower would do something and tell someone else and they would copy it, and it was causing a lot of problems. So that was the goal behind, well, it started as a conference that we took across the country, and that led into Future Cannabis Project, to bring out some of the more pure science, the stuff that is actually, valid, not this, stuff that this guy did and someone else tried and it screwed up his grow. So yeah,
I find a lot of folks who come out of that community as well too, in the gardening community, and again too, started off because of a lot of that, the love of growing itself, right?
Yep. And I think that I have a philosophy now at this age of my life: who's growing who?
Oh yeah.
Right? Are the plants
That's
growing?
A good one.
Is to turn us into compost or what?
Exactly. I've seen some memes in the gardening community on those same lines, right? It's who's growing who here. I mean, all these plants are, on a mission to, keep us going until we can, so that we can become their food eventually, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Who's really the food?
Hey, no matter what we do, I mean, we
Yeah.
pave roads and their
Yeah.
plants start growing up in the cracks. I mean, if we're not
Oh,
around,
it's just
everything is gone within 25 years. It's just going to be
amazing. It's amazing, some of that stuff. And even just kind of even on this on another little level too, is kind of the beginning of the show. I'm showing like I haven't grown tomatillos in years around my garden. But man, those seeds live forever, I swear. And every time I start to, I mix a new batch or what what I do each year is I'll put a new layer to kind of fill the top of some of my containers up. And somewhere in there was a tomatillo seed that got kicked up, and it started growing after after all of this time. So nature can be really, really fascinating in how it works, and is determined to do what it's doing.
So another great story. There's a term called necromass, which is not used enough. So necromass is spores and spawn and cysts. Cysts are the bacterial biological version of a spore. And I was asked to do a restoration in a parking lot on some very expensive olive trees. And so basically, I told the gentleman, I said, "You're going to have to cut the water back by 50%." And he laughed at me because he's like, "We've been trying to do this for 5 years. We've had Elaine, we've had Chip Osborne, we've had all these experts, and the most we've been able to save is 5%." And I go, "Well, if you don't cut the water back, you're going to kill the trees." So imagine this. I mean, it's a parking lot, so it's all gravel, compacted. They've pulled all the topsoil off when they were building it.
Yeah.
And then they just pave it and they cut these little holes and dig out the compacted gravel and throw in some soil, and that's it. And so the trees don't really have a lot of healthy soil to grow it into. And so bottom line is I raked back all the existing hard pan clay, crust, exposed the root ball, applied my biologically complete compost at about 2 to 3 inches deep. I put the drip irrigation back and then chips back on top of that. Went back 3 months later to test it, make sure that it hadn't gone anaerobic. It actually had started seeing ciliates. I told him, "You got to cut the water back to now 65%.
Oh, wow.
And he followed suit. And I went back 3 months later to check it again. I had earthworms. And I'm not just a couple. I'm talking hundreds of all different sizes, big ones, little ones.
Yeah.
Right? Where did they come from? This was a parking lot. Just goes to show you, like you said, how resilient the worlds are.
That's just amazing. That's amazing. Right on, right on. Well, I'll mention one other thing too is, we get a lot of guests here on the Let's Get Growing show, and a lot of them I haven't got to meet in person, but, I got to meet you in person just a couple of weeks ago down at the National Heirloom Exposition. I've got my heirloom exposition on.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, right on. But how was that show for you? Did you really have a good time down there or what?
I did. I am very passionate about educating people because I find that that's the key to really getting the word out. And I want to leave this place in better condition than I came into it. And that's the only way I can do it. So I had a lot of great questions. Unfortunately, our stage was kind of obscured, and a lot of people, said to me, "I couldn't find you, and I really want to hear you talk." And there were little direction cards, but it really wasn't,
that back area, is kind of a little no man's land back there and all of that. And we definitely got to work on getting you up a little bit more in the front of the show, and definitely on maybe one of those stages too. And do
that whole thing blew up, dude. It was like, very few people were responding, and next thing you know, the momentum started building. So the main stage overflew onto the local stage, and the local stage was overflowing. And Eric called me and said, "Hey, can you host a new stage?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess so. Yeah. All right, whatever." So he created the soil stage out of thin air, just a couple weeks before the show. So I think next year we'll be a lot more prepared, because we will already anticipate the continued growth of that show. But it was a great success. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of people came out to see that and walk around. So I think that it's building some momentum, which is great.
Yeah, just really awesome. Exactly. Let's see here. I got one more question in here. Let's drop that in real quick before I let you go. Serena was asking, are the nematodes you can buy on Amazon worth getting for your raised beds?
All right, so people freak out about root feeding nematodes. They are the smallest of the beneficial nematodes. I
Yeah.
don't know about these products. Like, I'm concerned because probably they're grown what's called in vitro, so in a lab. So as soon as you take them out of this perfect environment, perfect temperature, perfect pH, perfect food, no competition, and you throw them into a competitive soil system,
Yeah.
how long are they going to last? In my experience, and I've played with I've beta tested a lot of products, is that they don't last. They get consumed because they're like the rich kid, and all of a sudden he gets tossed in the ghetto. He's not going to be able to survive.
Right.
You flip that around, right? You take the ghetto kid and you throw him in a mansion with all these resources. He's going to kick butt. So I would tend to encourage you to compost.
Yeah.
One of the greatest nematode foods I've found is distillers waste or spent grains or brewers waste. Again, another form of grains, and you just mix those in with a healthy compost system, and you'll have more nematodes than you know what to do with. And the beneficial ones, because remember, the root feeders only grow in anaerobic conditions. So if you're overwatering, you're going to have problems with root feeders. But if you're watering appropriately, and you are adding compost, whether you extract it and turn it into a dissolved organic matter, or if you're top dressing it, lightly cultivate it in so it gets in the soil, and then make sure you cover it, because you don't want that beneficial compost to oxidize, because then you'll lose the organisms you're trying to, knock it with. But no, I recommend you, make your own compost at home. Encourage that, you can always collect a little bit of leaf litter. I always say to people, harvest responsibly. When you go into nature, set positive intentions, bring a bucket of compost with you to leave where you've removed something that you've taken out of the forest. But you can get all kinds of crazy organisms in these undisturbed areas.
Yeah.
Will just happily come into your compost and really take over.
Yeah. And again, too, just taking the time, to do something and with the intention to have a good, healthy garden. That's usually kind of what it takes, instead of just trying to find some of these, like, I guess you'd say, like, get rich quick schemes or whatever for your garden, right? Is
we
just
call them bugs in the jug, right?
yeah, exactly. So, it's always good to spend the time to do things right and build up, like you said, build up some great biology in your soil, and get that done for your garden, and you'll reap all of those rewards down the road. And again, too, you can find out about all of this sort of stuff from Leighton Morrison here on Mondays again. Was it
2 to 4?
2 to 4 on Mondays, and that's Pacific time?
Yep, exactly right.
On It's All About the Biology. Links right down below in the description. And again, thank you so much, Leighton, for spending your time today and sharing with us about all of this that you've got going on there. It's just really great stuff. Like I said, I was just mesmerized and fascinated with some of the conversation, and especially, again, that one you did recently with the microscope and everything. So y'all got to go check that out for sure.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to meet you at the Seed Fest, and then also get an opportunity to hop on your podcast and share a little knowledge. So thank you.
Exactly. We'll definitely have to have you back again sometime and talk just a little bit more about this and get a little deeper into our soil biology.
Well, we have to return the favor. You need to come on our podcast. If you can
there you go.
If you can take 2 hours on a Monday, we'd love to have you on and support your podcast as well, because again,
oh man, I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. Let's find a time, Leighton, and I'll see you then. Thanks again, man. Really, you do it. Definitely. Thank you. Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
The answer to this week's trivia question is C. Tomatoes are a historically misunderstood fruit. An old German legend claims that witches used them to turn into werewolves, hence the name wolf peach. Meanwhile, in France, tomatoes were long thought to have aphrodisiac powers, hence the name love apple. Thanks for watching. Head over to Sarah's Seed Shop where you can find garden seeds at unbeatable prices. Enjoy the rest of the show and have a great day.
So, all right. Did you all get the answer to Sarah's trivia question this week? Definitely, if you can, jump down into the description below there, and we have a link to Sarah's Seed Shop, and go over there and check out her shop there too. Just lots of really great essential seeds at sarahseeds.com, and help support a really great small business. So definitely do that. And again, thank you all so much for joining with us here today. And also, if you do have any of your questions, definitely put those into our chat there, and put them in all caps there too, so I can see those, and I'll be able to differentiate between our questions and our conversation. So again, thank you all again so much here. See, we got Keith Bradley here. Awesome. Thanks for joining with us here today. Awesome. Great to see all of you here. And let's get moving along. Today we've got a great guest for us here, and for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right. Let's welcome back to the show our very first guest of the show, actually, Wendy from Wendy Land. Great to have you back. It's so good to see you.
Love to be back. Yeah.
Awesome. You're right outdoors there. I love the hat. Where are you at?
Thank you. I'm outside in the garden. It's just such a nice day, and the internet's been terrible inside too. So this is like the very spot I found, golden.
The golden
Hopefully
spot.
It's gonna be okay. So might be some traffic, but yeah, but hopefully you can enjoy this.
Real deal.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love a good outdoor, when people are outdoors and all of that too.
Exactly. Got my tea and everything. I'm ready to go.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. So how things been going? I just saw you a couple of weeks ago. Again, we were talking about the National Heirloom Exposition, and was just such a really great time there. So how do you feel now after a couple of weeks? How did everything go there?
Well, first, hello everyone. Yeah, how's things going?
That's right.
Yeah, I can't wait to kind of get back in the garden, because I kind of, left during the heat wave. We were going like record highs, for that week right before, the expo. And then when we were there, it was also hot. So a few things got burned, the stuff that even in like full shade just were like crisped up, just because it's like an oven here. It was crazy. But so stuff are slowly looking good again. Crazy loofah vines it's taken off. It's like everything is just kind of a little bit delayed, like half a season behind here. This microclimate I got in this garden, a small space and shade and all that. So but I'm excited to clear a little bit of things out and get some new plants in, because I grow a lot of perennials as well, so it's a little difficult to like switch things out sometimes.
Oh yeah, because they're there when you put in some perennials, so you got
which is great. But then there's no room. I can't really make room for the new, and you know how I'm like a plant hoarder. So.
That's right. I love it. Again, too, as I always say, I mean, people should check out your channel and all of that and your videos because, I mean, you're probably one of the best at putting things into such a small space and so many different things. You have such a great variety in your garden.
Yeah, I'm so obsessed. It's so hard to choose which one. So, like just try to
Yeah.
make them work.
Right, right. And so you say the loofahs are going good. I was gonna say too, you brought these couple of loofahs to the expo. I've never seen
Yeah.
them so big in my life. I think they were
Right.
huge.
I can't wait to try to actually use them like one whole one instead of like cutting them out because it'll be so much fun. You can like
Yeah.
reach your back and everything,
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even think about it, like, using a whole one for a sponge, that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's huge. Really excited. The plants are just starting to flower again this year, So I know it's like everything, like I said, it's like half a season delayed, but thank goodness I'm still like, in Southern California. It's not winter's not too bad here. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just how it
definitely, you
goes.
kinda luck out with that. I get the kinda nice warm summer, again, hot
Yeah.
too at times this year and really and I wasn't even gone some of the times, and I was dealing with some of those issues that you're talking about there with the
Yeah.
heat, just drying things up before I can even get them rewatered again or and
Hmm.
just yeah, so it's really something to try to keep up with the hottest point of summer anymore.
Yeah, that's why I gotta try to do more like deep root watering. It does really seem to help a lot more, and just increasing that watering. But irrigation does help to conserve water and to do it even when I was like away, like with you with the expo that week.
Yeah.
Um, so just like, yeah, really trying to avoid them from getting stressed like before like the heat wave's gonna come. So like, check the weather forecast and try to deal with things like that. Be prepared.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, and for, it's in-ground stuff, like you're saying, good deep water, make sure that, things that, can handle a day or 2 or, if it came
Mhm.
down to it. But containers, though, I mean,
Mm.
yikes, huh? What a challenge.
I still try to yes, I haven't done this, but I put it in my family's place in Vietnam, like the deep root watering system type. It's like a hydro spiral thing that swirls and you have to dig a hole and like bury it in and then like it just slowly drips down and feeds like deeper. So I
Yeah,
did that with their containers and I I'm thinking of doing that also for my bigger containers.
yeah.
I think that should help.
Ooh, we have a question, says, "Do you have automated irrigation?"
I do, it's not completed because
Ye
like, I got everything planted, right, before I start setting up, and I don't grow things in a grid system, so it's a bit difficult to wind a lot of and then try to find ways to, like, put it up, but it's part of the garden, I think the sunny areas, all that, I started off working on that side, so it is
Yeah,
that system, especially when it runs on Wi-Fi, you can be, like, anywhere in the world and, like,
yeah, huh. And get, like, little moisture meters that you can read and know when it needs to be watered more and all of that too.
They have that feature in the one that I'm using, but
Yeah,
actually, I mean, they make it, but I don't have that
yeah.
yet. It's just like I'm just like technologically challenged. I
Oh,
can
yeah, I know how
try
you
to
feel.
spend all this time, figure it out that one time, and set things up afterwards. Like, don't ask me. I'm not gonna remember. I knew how to do it in that moment, and I forget. So, like, that would be nice to have and to figure out, but it's just something new for me. It takes a long time for me to like figure out to set up.
Yeah. Is it similar for you and me? Is that because I have these same issues and everything is completing my irrigation system. I have all of the timers. I have all the stuff I need, but I'm a person who likes to be in my garden and I'm in
Yeah.
there all the time. So I'm always paying attention. So a lot of times I haven't finished up setting everything because I'm like, oh, I can get to this. I'll be out here all the time. I'll take care of it because I really am. But then again, too, you walk away for a day or 2 because you got something to do, and you've
Yeah.
totally set yourself up for some disaster.
How do I do point the camera at the most important plants?
Right. No, no, you can't see that one.
Send a friend out or something.
That's right, huh? All right, and, let's see, Serena is asking, "Where is Wendy located?"
Somewhere, in
Somewhere in the
Southern
middle of the
California. I'm in LA
somewhere in yeah, somewhere in the big
currently.
city of LA.
Yes, urban gardening, so
Very urban. Yeah.
small
And again
space.
Yeah, again, like and two, I've got a video with you as well too, where we kind of walked through your garden a couple of years ago. I got to get back and
Yeah.
check out what you've got growing on
Yeah, you
nowadays.
should.
But again, folks should go back and check that out, or check out Wendy's channel too. But again, like I said, your space economy in your garden is amazing, and it's just a little walkway along the side of the place that you live in too. It's just amazing. Oh, and then you do have a little bit out front though as well, right?
Yeah, I started slowly. Yeah, it's just I have to just be careful with what I plant in the front, so I try to not have like really precious stuff out there, you know. But yeah, I've slowly been putting up some stuff in the front, and also like I set up like a 10 feet raised bed outside. So like, oh my god, having a raised bed, guys, it's like so like a luxury. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to fit that in my space, especially in like a patio garden. Like the depth of that is already taking up my walkway, so I have to like
Yeah.
customize it to work. So in order to fit something like that anywhere that I live, it's like, oh my god, it's like
How wide
luxury.
would you say it is?
What, the raised bed?
Your basically your
Oh,
walkway.
the walkway,
the sidewalk
1.5 feet wide.
for
So
for
like
the walk.
just enough for me to like
Just
push.
the space you get to walk through. Yeah.
Right, and then plus the raised bed and all that. It's okay. This full stretch is about roughly almost 6 feet wide.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
start dividing up, and then the walking path is just enough to like push, you know, like soil bags of soil. Yeah.
Right on.
Through.
Right
Yep.
on. Let's see here. Another question coming in here too is, how much can you produce to a supplement? Oh wait, how much grocery produce can Wendy supplement from her garden?
I grow a lot more leafy greens just because
Yeah.
it's just more productive and due to the lack of light. So like smaller cherry tomatoes and lots. I do a lot for like juicing. So like
Mhm.
I can't tell you in pounds and things like that because I'm not such a like a I don't know, like I don't weigh
Yeah.
things like that. But like I get like a good amount of like bouquet, you know, like
Mhm.
depends. Like even just the tree collards alone would produce a lot for me. So that I can
Yeah.
harvest like endlessly, like a big bunch of them, like, you know, maybe
Yeah.
once every couple of weeks or depends, couple of weeks or once a week. And then I grow a lot of leafy greens and the herbs, you know, like different fragrant herbs and all that. So they produce quite fast. I pretty much I juice, you know, like week, I don't know, once a week or once every other week, and
Mhm.
pretty much most of, I would say like at least 80% of the greens come from the garden, you know, and I just get like
Yeah.
grab some carrots and a little bit of fruits from the grocery store or the farmer's market or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
well,
I
there's
don't have a
always
definite
something.
answer for you.
Yeah. There's definitely
Yeah.
things that that we have to kind of purchase, like you said, either through grocery or farmers markets and all that sort of stuff. And we can't necessarily in small urban spaces that we have, like myself as well too. I mean, I
Yeah.
grow a lot. And I feel
Yeah.
like I grow a lot, but
Yeah,
there's still
definitely a
not, it's
lot.
still not everything that, that
Oh,
I,
definitely. Also, I think it's fun to go out and kind of like chat with people sometimes. Like, I like
Mhm.
immersing myself in my garden, but like, I like to spend
Yeah.
a little bit of time, you know, like out there and yeah, just see
Yeah.
what's going on. And obviously, you can't grow everything, even if you had that much land, you know.
Mhm.
You just don't
Yeah,
have the
because you
climate
want
for suitable for every type of plant.
yeah, and there's a ton of variety out there, and you want to try
Yeah.
new things and all of that as well.
Yeah.
And again, too, also I was going to mention, because you were talking about getting out there and talking with people, the front yard part of your garden too, that's pretty public facing. So you get a lot of people who walk by and they're like,
Yep.
"Hey, what do you got? What are you growing over here? Or what are you doing?"
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
some people are curious, and it's so cute when the kids come by and go
Oh
like
yeah.
the milkweeds, you know, like butterfly, you know.
Yes. That's the kids are the best. Again, for me, I grow right along the alleyways and all of that here, and kind of have tons of people who just walk through. So my gardens are really public facing. In fact, even my back
Mm,
patio is just kind of open. People, although it's not encouraged to get up there and walk through my back patio garden, I have had people do so because it's so interesting to them. And it's, and you can really just walk right up into it pretty much. And but I
yeah,
do
like
love the conversations, and I
mhm.
love it when people are coming through and they ask about, the garden and growing, and that's kind of one of the
It's
fun
more
parts
about
of having
how,
that public
yeah,
facing garden.
yeah. I mean, it's all about like I think their attitude towards it, right? Like the tone. or can really set,
Yeah.
yeah, like the conversations like, can we keep talking
Yeah.
here, or please don't walk in my garden?
I know, right? I believe me. I was like, I actually have cameras too around, so I was in the house and I noticed that someone was on the back
Alarm.
patio, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What is go? Who? What are they doing?" It was just this. It was just this lady, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing! I can't believe it. You grow all of this?" And I was like, "Yeah,
See,
yeah,
that's
yeah. This is my back patio."
yeah, see that's a yeah. I mean, that's at least she was kind of like just amazed by it, right? Like I've
Yeah.
seen like communities where like like the apps notifying you like phones, right? What do you call cameras, right? And
Mhm.
like neighbors would say like, "Oh, I don't know, does anyone know who this lady is? She just comes by like I don't know, every now and then with a bag, like a grocery bag. She goes picking people's fruits." And it's
Oh
like
my.
doesn't know have a clue who she is, you know? It seems like she's doing it like doing it regularly. So it's just like, man, like
Yeah.
when you grow things and you love sharing, but it's just kind of like I like to
Yeah.
be informed, you know? Like,
Right, right, and again, too, for me, there I do have to kinda take that position of, like, what gets taken kinda gets taken, especially for the stuff that we grow out right along the alleyways. The
yeah,
back
yeah,
patio, again, I kinda really kinda consider this is my space, this is really a lot of the stuff I'm growing intentionally for myself. The back,
right.
I have this back, fence line and everything as well, too, that isn't really is public either, but all
Hmm.
the stuff that grows right along the alleyway, I have to kinda be like, "Well, if it's not there tomorrow, then, at least it got to somebody and hopefully it was ripe enough."
Yeah. It's more of I think about for me is like I was thinking maybe growing like a smaller patch or some sort of like hardy type of like common herbs, and like if anyone can take some. But the problem is some people probably just may not they're they're not as careful as us about them, or they just don't know how to. So they'll just be yanking or they'll just take all. You're like, kind of want everyone to share or just carefully take some,
Yeah.
but why are you yanking them and breaking the
Oh,
plants? Like that's
I
sort of like
know.
my thing. Yeah, like it's okay if you
Luckily,
take
I don't
some.
get too much of that, but it has happened.
People are some are rough, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Although, there are times too that I will have, people walk through and, they'll be like, "Oh, this is great what you're doing here and all the stuff that you're growing and everything," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you need some?" And I start picking
Yeah,
things for them, and then they
right.
walk out of my alleyway,
Yeah,
lugging
I said, like,
produce.
their attitude about it or don't be
Yeah, yeah.
too greedy. People tend to be more giving, right? It's
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem sharing,
Yep.
just being myself mostly here and everything I grow, it can be, sometimes from different things can be way more than I'm gonna need. So, I definitely have to get out there and either give it to people who are passing by or start leaving things on my neighbors' porches,
Oh, yeah,
which I'm known to do.
that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, nothing like
Especially if you
sharing.
grow different things too, you guys trade. Some of my friends do around,
Yeah,
we grow different things and it's just like, "Hey, I got a bag of this for you," or my dad just picked, these for you, and I'm like, "Oh, great, I got this, I was about to head your way," and
yeah, yeah,
love the trading
exactly.
system, yeah.
Trading is great. Trading's great. Right on, right on. So, what else you got? What are some of the things that you really, really enjoy growing the most in your garden?
Growing the most in my garden. I
Yeah.
think, like, different types of scented herbs,
Mm,
things I can't
yeah.
buy, like, just I got, like, a pineapple sage. I know that's not, like, super rare, but I have one that's more like a lime green color, so it's really pretty, kinda like, pops in the garden. Different scentos, like, what is this mugwort thing that I'm growing that smells like cola?
Ooh,
Coca-Cola, yeah.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, so things like that excite me, pretty f like, fragrant flowers, edible flowers.
Yeah.
I love my pretty, like, English tea roses, 'cause you can do lots of stuff with it, you can, like, soak in, like, distilled water, make, like, toner or, like, rose water and different things
Yeah.
like that for, like, skincare. Yeah, what are other things? Yeah, I love my ashitaba plant.
Yeah.
Like the medicinal herb, because I also love medicinal herbs, kinda like one of the big reasons behind why I started gardening was, like, I wanted to do it for health, right?
Right.
So and
Yeah.
there's stuff that, like, money can't buy, at least not from around here. Uh,
Yeah. So a lot of basically, and I think I think is really always fascinating with your garden is all of the, I mean, just these varieties and these different things that you grow that I've never ever heard of before, or nobody,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
I like get
you
so
just really have
excited
a
about
knack
them.
for finding really great,
I do. I'm just like,
rare type
who's got
things.
what, Okay. And the milkweed that produce like beautiful sky blue colored flowers, they're like really fuzzy, the leaves. Like I love texture. Like I like feeling things and like smelling. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, too, the taste of things and all of
Yes.
that. Because again, one of the things I think is fun to get around your garden and you're always like, here, taste this. Here, try
Yeah.
this. Tell me what you think this tastes like.
Yeah, that's all. Like the one that smells like root beer too, right? That's
Yeah,
also
that
one of my
was
favorite
fascinating.
plants. Yes.
Right on.
Yeah. Oh, I got a
Let's see.
curry berry here. It's about to ready. Yeah, I love my curry tree. Sorry, I'm just like staring right at it because I just moved that pot here. Curry. Have you ever actually tasted curry plants? Like not the one that smells like the curry that I think a lot of people associate with curry general like dish was actually made with like
Yeah.
I don't know 20, 30 different types of spices and together it smells like that curry, but
Oh, yeah.
actually the curry tree is one of the ingredients in the whole
In the
like
mix.
group of curry in the mix. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the berries, the fruits taste like what the leaves smell like. So that's really cool
Oh,
and
wow.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost
This is
ready.
almost ready. Just
You can try it.
highly
You have to try it.
anticipating, huh?
Yeah.
Right on. M asks, does Wendy start a lot of seeds? Managing a small space seems easier in that sense.
Mm. I start seeds for the things I can't find like plants to start because it's
Yeah.
obviously it takes more time and like it's funny that you think it's less work in a small garden. I mean, yes and no, there's less
Right.
things to grow, but it's actually a lot more work to maintain because you don't want the plants to be overgrown and blocking others, and all that. So it's a lot more work involved. And the seedlings, I have to start indoors. So some I do that,
Yeah.
for especially like winter's coming up, I guess. Yeah, some annual things I start from a seed if I can't get certain varieties. Seeds don't germinate well outdoors for me usually. There's not enough light. Yeah.
Yeah. Seeds, seeds a great way to, save some money and, make sure you've got plenty of whatever and all that.
It
But
does,
like
but I
you
don't have
said,
room for
they are,
plenty.
yeah, I know. Exactly. And but again too, they are just that little bit extra bit of work when it comes down to it. A
It
little more
is.
care. I mean, it's more
Mm-hmm.
care. You got to take care of, baby seedlings and until
Mm-hmm.
they mature into a plant, And so
Yeah.
that's what, just like a regular baby, right? That's when they need the
Oh
most care.
yeah. Like you really can't really go anywhere for like that time being when you're like raising like infant,
Yeah.
no, beyond that, be even younger than that. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I would have to literally get up on like the upper story of the trellis, which I use as like a shelf, um, temporary shelf, like the winter. That's where I would lay
Yeah.
all the seedlings. That's where they can get the most light. It's like going 8 feet up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, work my way around it.
Let's see. Also asks, I have a couple of kale plants, but is there a top
Mm.
3 plants that are simple to grow and healthiest in your mind?
Probably the more common one, the dinosaur kale, is that I'm not sure the names of them. Yeah, that's probably one of the most hardy ones. I
Yeah.
found to be the most hardy that grows year round for me. And it does tend to be more drought tolerant and heat tolerant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And then I think like I forget, like the more like deep purple curly kale
Yeah, you
kind of thing.
definitely want those purples, right?
Scarlet, is that what they're called? Yeah, like those
Yeah.
are so pretty, but they're more like they like the cooler weather, so I like those in the cooler like
Yeah.
winter and spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's this other kale that I need to start propagating more. It actually does better in the tropics and in the heat. It's a more
Oh.
special one. Yeah, so
Oh,
that
yeah,
one,
yeah.
so that one I'm gonna get more
Yeah, for
out.
those of you who live in the warmer climates, that's definitely a way to go. And how about
Mhm.
just other types of plants at all or anything like that? What would be like your top 3 of like healthiest things or the things you grow for health?
The things I grow for health. I think I mentioned Ashitaba
Yeah.
Ashitaba earlier. The Genera longevity spinach is one I grew up
Oh yeah.
growing, and I continue to grow it for like, smoothies and salads, or you can throw that in anything because it's it's called longevity spinach. It's
Yeah.
not related to spinach. It's just that texture reminds you a lot of spinach. So that one does better in like in the warmer climate as well. Winter, it's a slower growing even in Southern California. But if you grow it enough, there should be, plenty to go around. And it's just easy, like, to get used to the taste because it's quite mild.
Okay.
I like plants that's more like versatile. That's one of them. And then what would be the third one? I'm trying to look around. Oh my goodness. I guess my collards. I'm trying out testing out this new like tree
Yeah.
collard variety that one of my growers, who's also like my friend,
Yeah.
I guess was breeding or something. And anyway, it's really pretty. It's like got this ruffly color. It's like purple, but it's still part of like a tree collard kind of thing. So tree collards are great for small space because they grow vertically, and the leaves
Yeah.
usually are quite big. Those ones are a bit tough to eat, so you either turn them into chips or like I juice them, or you have to cook them down, kind of, to soften.
Right
Yeah.
on, right on. Yeah. It's just mentioning there in one of the comments about John, and you and John kind of do a dual booth together, and he's got all
Oh
of his
yeah.
tree collards. I think it's
I
one of the
guess you
coolest
must
things.
have been there. Did I probably have met this.
What's that?
I must have met this viewer. I guess.
Yeah, could be, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
was there?
that's
Was there a
great. I love
question? I was like interrupting you.
No. They were just mentioning how John's always talking about growing reds, and they say purples, are
Oh
great,
yeah,
those sort
they're
of
so
things
good for
because
you. They're also just
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. Like I was mentioning earlier in the show too, I've got a bunch of one of my favorite lettuces to grow is this Merlot
Mm,
variety,
wow.
and it's just so deep red and purple, and it's just really awesome. And I grow it, and I think I got seeds from Baker Creek years ago. And
Cool.
all I do is, let one of the plants go. I harvest as many of the rest of them, and then I let one
Hmm.
of them go to seed. And same with the other varieties that I grow as well too. And then
Hmm.
get all that seed, when they're all ready and all of that, and then you take that seed and let some of it spread around your garden
Yeah,
to volunteer and come back up,
those
and
are
then
always
save some
fun.
for the next spring. And yeah, so I've got a bunch already that are just little babies popping up all
That's
over the
awesome.
place of all these different varieties, and you can definitely tell those red ones in there too, because they're just
That's
so,
always
the color is just
exciting.
great.
Yeah, and I like that when plants just like help me decide where they want to go instead of me doing it. Because like I have a hard time thinking like, well, you know, because I don't have a lot of room. So it's like if I put this
Yeah.
one here and that one can utilize a little more sun as well, and it's hard for me to choose, and it will take me too long to decide. So it's like, hey, you pop yourself right in, make the decision for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully it can stay there though, right? Because like I said,
They
you got to be
usually
real economical. Maybe sometimes you get some
scoot it
volunteers
like
in places.
6 inches over. Yeah, yeah.
We'll pop
But
out
I
and
think
move
they're
it then.
usually happy where they're at. So I really try to like work around
Yeah,
them usually. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just got to let them go and do their thing, right?
Yep.
Let's see, Jersey Girl saying, I got free Merlot seeds from Baker Creek. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you're gonna
cool.
love that if you haven't grown them yet too. It's one of my favorite of the red varieties of lettuce.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I do look
Right.
forward to having some nice lettuce. Yeah.
Right on, right on. Okay, well, I also, we want to mention too that Wendy has a website called
Mm.
wendyland.com appropriately, right?
Yes.
Just nice and
Thank you.
easy. And so you sell plants as well too, right? A lot of these rare plants that you come across and propagate
Yeah.
yourself as well, some of them.
Right. Yes. So I do offer some plants and seeds and like like a small selection of more specialty plants, rare plants, mostly edibles, things that I've, test out new varieties. Like I work with a grower who's like, that we become like good friends with, and he's always like sharing new things that he comes up with or finds, and yeah, I grow them and see if I like them and how they do and all that. And yeah, because I have the more rare things, and I kind of like want to spread, I guess, keep the
Yeah.
gene pool going. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I want to start working. I'm partnering with one of my good friends that we're going to offer the most amazing jasmine tea I've
Oh,
ever
wow.
had. I don't know if you're a tea person, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
literally this tea, because they actually use like real, like fresh picked jasmine, flowers,
Okay.
infusing in it like so many times. It's scented just like I'm walking through like a legit,
Yeah.
like an actual jasmine garden. So like
Oh,
I'm
wow.
really excited to be like bringing that out soon. And I do have some jasmines growing here. This is like one of my favorite scent of all time, that and roses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
Lavender. I love lavenders. Those are my
Lavenders are
favorites.
great. I
Yeah.
would love, having the bees love the lavenders, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things, like any of those like herb like perennials and everything that just put out a
Yeah,
ton of flowers. You
easy.
just love to see them bees just
Yeah,
dancing all
they're
over
easy
them
to
and everything.
grow in the bees. Yeah, you just need a lot of sun. So like I wish I could grow more lavender, but I might expand and grow that on the parkway or something, because that's
Yeah.
where it gets more sun. Yeah, they take care of
Yeah.
themselves almost, right? Drought tolerant.
Right on.
Once
So tell me a little bit
established.
more about the tea. So this is something that you
Mm.
guys are putting together to sell through your website?
Yeah, so she's been doing that at like her shop. She's done like pop-ups of different things for pastries and goods, but like she's working with, a group of friends who's been doing tea for like so many generations in a place in Taiwan and in China, growing like a really up like this amazing view of these like tea mountains. Like,
Oh,
God,
wow.
I wish my timing worked out, because I had to go to like Vietnam and like Baker Creek thing in Missouri. So timing didn't work out, but I was supposed to go with her. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
so jealous seeing how she brought these back and like showed me these pictures and the process of how they made it. It's like this such old school way that's been passed on for like, many generations. And it's just, and like, how there's other teas out there that are scented just like fruit teas or different types of like beverages, right? They actually have like
Mhm.
natural flavoring in it. But like,
Yeah.
and it's a little interesting to me that like the jasmine in particular was actually the beginning of our friendship. It was like because I got really into like her teas, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it just the smell of it barely even changed. It smells like just like fresh flowers. You know how when you dry things, the smell it's like alters a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't
Yeah.
know how they do it, but it smells like so close to like the actual flower. So like,
It
and
really
like
holds on to that
it
the
does, yeah.
smell and flavor
Yeah,
profile.
exactly. And you have to pick like tea thing is such like so much like I really don't know much about tea, even though I do grow a
Yeah.
tea plant here for years. But I pick any leaves and like use it, like
Mhm.
as a tincture, not tincture, like for my face, like stuff like that, astringent. I don't
Yeah.
know about tea picking, but there's like very specific things, right? Certain time of the year, like a tiny little needle grows, like all the new groves you have to pick, and the
Yeah.
buds, and there's different tea plants supposedly that are like grown in the wild for like 2,000-year-old like trees that are like, tea trees
Oh,
that
wow.
you would pick from, but only like I don't know, like 1 or 2 months out of the year, something like early spring when those buds just come out. Like there's so
Oh.
much like, yeah, it's amazing, but like I know so little about tea, but yeah,
Yeah, me too. I
amazing.
love it though. Is it like a base, the jasmine, and is there other things for
It's
different types of
green.
tea, or is it just one type of tea?
Mostly, the most common one is green tea,
Yeah.
and then they would use like the actual like jasmine flowers to infuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then I think they infuse and allow those fresh flowers to. The tea leaves are very absorbent. So so it would just absorb whatever smells you put in, and then they have to kind of, I don't know, hand roast it somehow. They do
Right.
all that, and then they would remove all those flowers and then pick a new batch of flowers again and put them in and kind of infuse it that way. And they do it like 6 times, 8 times, 12 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So when do you guys plan on having that available?
As soon as I get to it. I'm hoping to be able to get them out by, the holiday season that's
Oh,
coming up.
perfect.
Yeah, but I do have like some videos and some things. It's just doing quite a lot myself. I got really excited to have more videos that would be out, and some from my trip in Vietnam that I went to see some farms and all these beautiful landscapes and these farmers. And but there's like a lot to do,
Got
but
a
I'm
lot
really
going
excited about
on,
the
huh?
tea too. Yes.
It's so fun being a independent creator and doing things ourselves, and when things start
Yeah,
piling up and we got so much to do, it's like, oh, I need to get this out. I want to get this out, but it's
exactly.
like so much going on. So I
It
totally
is. You
understand
work
that as
7
well.
days a week, but it doesn't even feel like work.
It really doesn't, but time
It's
does
fun.
pass by, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I really need to get to these things, man.
Everything is a priority.
Everything is a
Like the plants
priority.
can't wait either.
That's so true. That's so true. Awesome. And yeah, I do definitely want to get onto your want to talk about your trip as well too. But
Oh, yes.
let's actually real quick before we leave the subject of wendyland.com, you do have a
Okay.
lot of those rare plants that we're talking about. You mentioned that. What are some of these really cool rare plants that people could look at your website now and possibly purchase?
Okay. So right now, a lot of things are out of stock because there's a few, but a lot are out of stock that will be restocking soon because I left, I was like in Vietnam for like three months or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's like the Ashitaba that I talked about. That one, it's really difficult to start them from seed, and that's like the only way to like get them started. And if you look through like the research of like all these like backing of like how it's like so good for you, like medicinally.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that one should be a really good one to grow if you're not somewhere that's like going to be like freezing over, like Southern California or places with mild winter, even zone 9. It's like a really great time to have this plant. They grow really well in the cooler season. It is like native to Japan. So
Okay.
yes, and then I still got some seeds available. What else I got? Yeah, I don't have too much right now, but I think whenever they're looking back, I should be restocking pretty soon. And I'm gonna have a lot more like fragrant herbs coming out, different types of sage, like the peach sage, that beautiful one. You can't really quite pick up the color, but it is flowering now. It's
Oh
starting to
yeah,
flower,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like a really lime green.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually the color's pretty good
It's
there.
like a bright yellow green. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that smells great, huh?
Oh, that does smell so good. I do like that. What other ones I really like? I love all the smells. I do like the fuzzy plants too. The lamb's ear.
Yeah, yeah, I got some
That
lamb's
one you
ears.
can get them quite easily at nurseries, but I do love that plant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very hardy, that lamb's ear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it just
you can
multiplies. I
walk
love
on that
lobster.
stuff. You can
I
literally
would
walk on
love
that
to
stuff.
be able to walk on that stuff, but then I'll feel bad smashing them too. I
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
use that for my
They're not
face.
gonna feel
They're
it's not
so
gonna
good.
feel bad. So you wouldn't have to
Well, I
worry about it.
don't want
It's not gonna
to break
feel
them.
bad.
I want them to look good.
I'm telling you, I have to beat back the
I
lamb's
don't
ear and
want.
cut it back every single year. I have it grown in a part of my garden that I really like, but it'll just
Yeah.
spread and spread like a carpet.
I don't have that kind of room for them to spread
I
so
know, you
much,
don't have
but
that.
like, man, but I feel hurt when I accidentally kind of go like, oh, like that, like,
Oh,
no.
yeah, yeah.
But I do pick them to use. They actually seriously like are so good.
Yeah, that's
Instead of like
really
cotton
great.
pads for your face, I literally like would use these. So
It's one
cool.
of my favorites too. It's soft again, like the
Yes.
sage as well can get real soft as well too. Different
Different
varieties of
types
that.
yeah, the peach sage is very fuzzy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see.
It
Em asked
smells
a little
really
bit earlier
good.
there. Does Wendy still grow roselle?
Not this year. I have one that looks similar to roselle, but it's actually what is it called? It's like a chaya or something. The flowers look similar to roselle, but I don't have that this year. I kind of alternate just because of like this, a space issue.
Yeah.
I do love the one with the deep red leaves. That roselle, that's
Mm,
gorgeous.
yeah, again, the reds for sure.
They're like my tropical maple tree. That's what I call them,
Right on, right on.
and they're
Excellent.
edible.
It's all right. So you mentioned you took off this year for 3 months this time. I know you go to Vietnam regularly,
Yeah,
but this time you went for 3 months.
I know it's
Tell us
like
about
longer.
the trip. How about that?
Yeah, it was crazy. I had to like get things ready in the garden. And it's so funny because I hurt my knee like 2 days before my trip, and I was like hopping around trying to like bend over and do all these weird poses to get the irrigation done, like the most like important parts, and just kind of have to hope for the best, you know. My
Yeah.
dad did check on it, and like he does help me out with it, so but he's not a gardener at all. So I yeah.
Yeah,
um
that's like when I leave the garden for my daughter to take care of for me when I take off places too.
yeah,
She's not really the gardener, but, yeah, she does her best.
exactly, and you can't be mad at them, right?
Nope.
You know? You're just like, I'm grateful for your help, man. If I could
Exactly.
like show you a little more, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I have family in Vietnam, so I do enjoy going there, and you know, and everyone's like getting older, and I try to
Yeah.
spend more time and make use of the time while I'm there to kind of go out and see things when possible and film some content. So that's like really
Yeah.
fun for me, you know,
Just so
just
I mean,
explore and make some videos.
I get
Yeah.
so jealous when I hear you taking those trips over there because I'm like, man, I've been wanting to go like anywhere in Asia would just be
Yeah.
so fascinating for me. I've just been so in love with the land and terrain.
Yes.
Really, it's just something
It's
else. I mean, we think we have some great national parks
yeah,
and
we
things like
do,
that
but
here in
it's
the
very
States.
different.
It is very different and just amazing over there.
Yeah, and though just the vibe of it all, like the people are super friendly, you
Yeah.
know, and especially when you kind of go out in a little bit more like in the outskirts, you know,
Out
the
into the
people are,
country.
yeah, like it's so common, it's so normal for people to invite you to their homes to like have lunch when you're just walking around and chatting with them at the market or whatever. Or
Wow.
it's like so normal out here. Like, what is that
Yeah.
person up to? Why are they inviting me? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
should
kinda
I
like we're
hop on their
talking
motor
about with, like,
scooter?
who's in my garden and who's out there right now.
Yeah, it's like a lot less of those sort of things happening, and it's actually quite safe to travel. Like some people hear some crazy stories, but we got a lot more crazy stories out here, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I've just always kind of felt like, even just through being able to watch some things about, different, some of your stuff and other
Hmm.
folks put out stuff from there, and it's just really the vibe that you get from that is like just what a lovely place to be with such, really great people who are so welcoming.
Yeah, they really are, and they seem to be quite open to things, and everything happens kind of spontaneous. Like if you go on a trip, it's really hard to plan out exactly what you want to do, you know? So you have to kind of go with the flow. But usually I think being spontaneous, like usually a lot of really interesting things come from it, you know?
Yeah,
And probably better than you could ever plan it sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah, but hopefully, you know, the audience and you know our viewers would enjoy these sort of content because I really would love to do more of that. And there's like
yeah,
so much more to see, and the scenery is so different. Just flying like an hour away, you know, in like
yeah.
in Asia, like an hour, it gives you a whole different type of scene and like a different way of life, the way people are living. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really like always been like since I kind of got started in doing content myself and making like videos where I go and visit folks like yourself, and
Hmm.
check out your gardens and stuff. I've always just in the back of my mind thought, how amazing would it be to do that kind of on a world level, to like
Yeah,
go to different places and different cultures and find out, like almost like
yeah.
what Anthony Bourdain did with his
Right, when he just
food
does it for
thing,
food, and we could do it for, like, more like the
gardening and how
nature and
they
growing side. Yeah,
wouldn't that
the
just be
whole different
amazing to
side
check
of
out all not just Asia,
that
but
would
other
be
places around the
amazing.
world and see how
Yeah,
different cultures,
right.
relate to their garden and their which then
Mhm.
relates to food and all
Yes.
that as well too, so
Yeah, it's everything, all of that's connected, right? And it ties
Mhm.
into culture, right? That's how they have been living and
Yeah.
sustaining themselves, so it's all, like, very interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah. So tell
Yeah.
us what are some of the things so you were there for 3 months, so I'm sure you had,
Mhm.
plenty of chances to go see lots of great stuff. You probably got a ton of content that you're trying to get through. Tell us about some of those,
Yeah.
videos or things that, you
Mhm.
will or have put out.
So I didn't do as many trips as you think I did just because I do have family. I wish I was able to do more,
Yeah.
uh, but I did go on, you know, some trips and like filmed a lot of things from. I went to like just checking out like the zoo there, like very local places. That's like one of the. I think that's one of the oldest zoos in the world, so that was pretty
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah, and then I'm working on this uh, film. What do we call it? Film. This video. Film sounds so serious. I'm not
It's
a
a
big
film.
production. Yeah,
We're
about
filmmakers, Wendy. We're
we
filmmakers.
are. We
That's right.
are. That's right. It's very cinematic. Especially this one because I was able to have like my friend to come along with me, and he is a videographer, so he was able to help
Oh,
me with,
okay.
yeah, like my half pro gears, you know.
Right, right.
It's like crop sensor cameras, but doing the best you can and like help me on that one. So it was so much fun like editing that. So I'm really excited to be releasing that soon. It's about different types of coconuts.
Oh,
And
wow.
you know, coconuts is like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was a lot of fun. So something like that. I went to the north. North is more of a lot of more like beautiful scenery is more,
Yeah.
and I think with the north or more like higher up mountain.
Where
you
were
know, kind
you?
of
So where were
regions.
you based out of?
Saigon, South
Saigon. So
Vietnam.
north
It's like
of.
the most trendy, busy place of Vietnam. That's where
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family is. Yeah.
It's a pretty big city, huh?
Eh, yeah, it's also very, yeah, highly populated. I don't know
Mhm.
how big it is in reference of, but it is definitely the most
More
busy.
condensed
It
than,
is
right?
condensed. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like yeah, because LA is like more scattered, and like
Mhm.
Saigon is more condensed with their districts.
Yeah.
And then I just set up a solar irrigation. Let's see what happens now, but up in the balcony garden of my family's place, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to help set up like a garden out there when the place is done. That would be like really exciting because they're kind of like moving into like I guess the more health. I guess they're like watching these sort of YouTube videos and
Yeah,
hearing about people that like are feeling better with their health from gardening. So my uncle's like really
yeah.
excited about it. So hopefully, you know, yeah, I'll be able to go back and do more of that. So yeah, what else was I doing? I went to see some rice paddies. It wasn't
Okay.
like the ideal time, so I did see some, and oh gosh, those like the view there, the scenery is like gorgeous.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
and like
imagine.
a few places around there. Yeah, but you'll have to see it. Like, oh my god, I'm so excited. Like,
I know, we're excited too now. I can't wait.
yeah.
Yeah, for
What else?
So
Yeah,
I just saw one of your reels that you put out just recently
yeah.
too,
Which
that
one?
I thought was great because, I got to try jackfruit years ago, and I thought
Yeah.
that was just really amazing. John Kohler on his
Hmm.
videos. He loves jackfruit. I got to try one with him several years
You
back, and
liked it?
it was delicious.
Yeah.
But I saw you had this other one that's kinda related to a
Yeah.
jackfruit. You wanna tell us about that?
Yeah. So that one is called a champudat.
Yeah.
Or Vietnamese is mít tố nữ. It has the word mít in it, which it's like mít is also what jackfruit is called. So I guess they kind of make them relatable that way.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to a jackfruit. It's kind of tastes like a jackfruit and a durian combined.
Oh,
And like whatever you smell and taste of a jackfruit, it's like 10 times stronger.
oh, really?
It's crazy intense.
So we're not
Yeah.
talking like the smell of a durian, though?
A little bit. There is a
A
little bit
little
of a
bit?
durian tone in
Oh,
there,
okay.
yeah,
Right, yeah,
and a durian gooiness in there.
yeah.
But like but it's like a super ripe jackfruit, but think of like a jackfruit condensed. Like if you were to like, you know, make jam or something, like you really boil it down to its like super intense smell and taste. Like it was
Yeah.
so sweet. I'm trying to think now, because in that video, I was saying this is like the sweetest fruit I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
It was
Mhm.
true up to that time. I think my
Okay.
recent harvest of my banana is probably the sweetest fruit I've ever
Oh,
eaten.
wow.
But now it's like the second sweetest. But it it literally tastes like it's so sweet I almost would choke. Like it tastes like melted brown sugar, you know?
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
That's great, that's great, yeah. So, and the one thing too that I find fascinating because is, again, too, you say the gooiness, but this is
Yeah.
like a latex or something like that, right? Is
Yeah.
it what is that? And
Yeah.
I hear that it's hard to get off if you get it on you or
You
something as
use,
well?
you trick us to use some oil because oil takes that sort of stuff off. Kinda
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when you have, like, I guess, like, sticker labels, you know, you can put a little bit of oil to kinda get it off.
Right, right.
Yeah, the same idea, and, jackfruits have basically, the latex for those types of fruits is when they're
Mhm.
not fully ripe. The more ripe they are, the less latex there is.
Okay.
And then in Asia, they did develop a different type of jackfruit cultivar that has less latex, but it also like the fruit is sweet when it's still crunchy. Because usually, fruits would like ripen like soft and then they'll be like sweet. But
Yeah.
like in Asia, we enjoy a lot of fruits like more on the crunchy side. It's like about the texture. So
Yeah.
like usually if you had like a jackfruit that's like more crunchy, that the sweetness wouldn't develop as well and it'll be more latex. But there's a different cultivar that's like sweet, crunchy, and like very low on like doesn't have that much of that white like latex thing. So like yeah, that looked like crazy, wasn't it, on that in that
Yeah.
fruit?
Yeah, you can
Um,
really just see it as you were
yeah, I
pulling
was
it
like,
off.
uh-oh, this
Like,
is not gonna taste good. But actually it was really good. I didn't taste latex at all on like the pods itself, the bulbs. Like it was just
that's
on
very
that spot. So I guess it was ripe enough. Someone left
yeah.
a comment telling me that the one I had wasn't ripe. And I was
Mm,
really curious because that was actually my first time trying that fruit. I heard about
yeah.
it. I never got a chance to until recently. So I was like, really? I mean, that tasted pretty darn ripe to me. Like I've had a lot of different fruits in my life, so I can tell if something is ripe. But I'm curious, like, well, what's a ripe one like? And
Mhm.
so I think
Was this one you just picked up at like a farmer's market or something there, or?
I picked that one. So I love that Vietnam. They just have things so casually sold on the side of the road, And like
Yeah.
I got that on my trip by coconuts. It's like halfway, midway, somewhere like filming like the coconut trip, and then like someone selling a bunch of fruits on like on the
Yeah.
side of the road, yeah, with a bunch of different types of tropical fruits. And I was like, oh my god, that one! I've been meaning to try those
Stop,
forever.
pull over.
Yeah, get a couple home, exactly. So I don't know, is it because they picked it too early, so the color didn't look like it was ripe, but like it was ripe. Like if
Dude,
in the tropics, it's just so hot. If you try to get it like perfect ripeness,
yeah.
even if you wait like half a day, there's a huge change. The next
Oh,
day,
wow.
it's like over. Inside starts to get black and like molding. It's
Oh,
literally
wow.
mold. You'll see fuzz. Yeah. So I'm like, no, that one was ripe. Maybe not ripe, tree ripened, but it was ripe. Like it
Yeah.
didn't have funny smells and it was so soft. Like the ferment thing, it's like if I cut it an hour after, like if I wait an hour, it will start to ferment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
There's a different
Yeah. I
way
just
of living in the
remember like,
tropics.
so I got to try that jackfruit before, but I always heard about durian.
Have
And
you?
and well, last year at the Heirloom Exposition, if you remember, yeah,
Yeah.
they had the durian on the table that you were excited about the whole week. Like, oh my gosh, we got to get
I
into it. So,
opened it.
and it
We
was
got the
so
after
great. Like
party.
everybody got together,
Yeah.
from the exposition, like a bunch of speakers and presenters and vendors and
And
all
their
that got
group,
around.
the Bear Creek crew was there, right? It was like
Yeah.
a party thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a fun little
Yes.
after party surrounding this durian, which then became my
Yes.
first time because I'd
Wow.
seen them before, and again, videos of people talking about them and all of that, and had a fascination for that type of tropical fruit, and then so it was my first time being around, and I was like, oh wow, I get now what people are talking about because it's.
How did
I
you
hate
like
to
it?
say, I mean, the smell for someone who isn't used to it, it is
Yeah.
pretty offensive.
Yeah.
And again,
Okay.
to
That's a
again,
normal response.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to say, and I will admit, I'm probably just I was like, I don't know. So I held back from actually trying it, but I saw everybody just loving this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how in the world something can smell like that, and everybody's just like, oh, this is the most amazing, greatest tasting thing ever.
So if you were to plug your nose, do you think you would like the fruit?
I'm gonna have to try it next time. I
Okay.
will have to plug my nose next time. I will do
But
it.
that's part of the experience, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
losing 50% of the experience.
Uh,
But you're
I
probably
know.
okay with that.
I think that's the 50% I could do without though.
Maybe it's an acquired taste with some things,
Right,
Like,
right.
I guess, yeah, because like for me, I'm really growing. I have spent some time in my childhood in Asia, so it's like I'm exposed to a lot of things, and you know how we eat like different things and everything, and different ways of fermenting. Like scrape off the mold and then like cook it well and eat it. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
all kinds of funky smells and textures. Like I'm like curious, I guess, person. So like it's fun for me
yeah.
to try things.
Yeah, there were a few of us in the group who were resistant, but then there were a few too, which which really tells me I should have been a little more braver. But there were a
Baby
few
steps
too
next
who
time.
had never tried a durian before either, and they were like, "Ooh, that's again, doing the whole this and that." But
Hmm.
they were eating it and trying it, and you could just tell they were like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is actually very tasty,"
Maybe you could
So
try it in like a food or something, like as like a milkshake thing, like a
right,
smoothie,
right.
a shake, or as a
Darth
food
X was
or
you were
cake.
mentioning
Yeah,
ice
like
cream.
yes. Because like I think when you cook it or when you process it a certain way, it's more of the sweetness that's left. I think like that sort of like sulfur smell is
Yeah,
kind of it. I think it reduces.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna I'll have to be brave next time and give it a
I
shot
mean, if
for
it's so
sure.
bad, you just spit it out. It doesn't hurt you, right? Spit it out. No big deal.
No big deal,
No
but
big
yeah, that
deal.
was definitely fun, and again, too, another fun thing, and that was the year before. This
Mhm.
year was really great too, again, at the
Yeah.
Heirloom Exposition to get to see all of that sort of stuff and get together and hang out with everybody,
It's
so
always fun, but every year's a little different too, like, we didn't do
yeah,
that this year. We had we
yeah.
had a lot of running around to do this year.
Yeah, there was a lot. We were really busy this year,
This year, I
so
got to ride on the Boogie Brew bike.
oh, yeah, yeah, that was fun.
And I made, Enoch, worked out, do some cardio.
Oh, yeah,
Just
for sure,
following me behind
with the
with the
camera, I think the bike got going, I had to leave you behind for a while there, you guys got
yeah, and then
going
I
there, but
started chasing him with my little push cart.
yeah, yeah, and that's kinda the thing too, is that everybody's having so much fun as the whole
Yeah,
event's kinda
and there
closing
everyone's
down,
like
everybody else just
yeah.
kinda has just their whole other kind of fun as we're kinda closing
Yeah,
things down and
it's like a
stuff,
place
which
you
is
could be a kid again, and everyone's actually super nice, like, like Josh, for
super
example, was
great.
trying to help everyone, like, load up, like, clean up and everything.
Yeah.
He was, like, super speedy with that, and then this other lady was, like, getting angry for this other person because someone was being rude, like, everyone was just, like, got each other's backs. It's like, this place is like
Yeah.
a whole, like, place to re like, like a reunion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great, and again, too, like, I met you years ago at my first heirloom exposition, I think it was back in
Yeah.
16 or
I
17, and
can't remember if that was my first too. It could
it might have been,
If not, then the
but
second or something. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty
and
close.
again, and then meeting John and Josh and all these other folks,
Yeah.
Jer from, of course, from Baker Creek and everything, so, year after year, it really has just become one of these kind of cool, like, almost like a family
That's
reunion in
where
a
we
way.
meet once a year.
And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I just love it, and I just hope that, that, we can get more and more folks out there who especially those who watch our content and all that stuff to get out and
Yeah.
to enjoy that experience, for themselves because it's
Mhm.
just really fun. It's a
It
great place to get
is.
together and hang out.
It is.
Right on, right on. So tell us a little bit more. I know we got stuff coming up from Asia that you've got, that you've been filming and everything, but you got any
Mhm.
projects or anything like that that are coming up here that you're doing for Wendyland and all of that?
Yeah, different types of content that I'm working
Mm,
on. I'm propagating some more to kind of restock the shop.
yeah.
Yeah. What other projects? I mean, my own projects, but I also try to film as much as I can, like the gardens and process. I think the front is slowly taking, shape a little more.
Yeah.
They got a banana that's like banana. I got a new
Oh,
stock
yeah,
of
you
banana
mentioned your
flower.
banana.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
one already gone. That one is eaten. But there's
yeah.
like a
What
new one.
variety was that?
That one I still gotta finish up working on, but that's
Yeah. What
yeah.
variety of banana was it?
The one I ate, it's like my friend's dad gave it to me and passed along from some other family members, so there's no actual name.
Okay.
But it's like some sort of like Asian banana that's about this medium
Yeah.
size. It was so sweet. And then the one that's currently flowering is a Namwa and cross with ice cream banana.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And then I got
Is
this.
that one that you had though that you've tried that you said was the sweetest?
The sweetest is
Did you
the
get
one
new
the
plants at all?
unknown.
Do you have like new plants or
I
pups or anything
do. I need a yeah. I gotta chop
to
them out.
keep it going?
Keep it going and keep on price sharing. I can't grow
Yeah,
that much bananas here. Like, uh, but
you'll
they're
have to
just
cook.
yeah. There's
You'll have
just
to
so
name
much.
you'll have to name it yourself if you don't know a name anymore. You have to give it a whole new name, huh?
Oh, that would be fun. I'm like, what? It's
Yeah.
not like I didn't like.
Mhm.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can, with the idea that it was, come from a variety you didn't you
Yeah, I
don't
guess.
know, that
Or should
sort of
my
thing.
friend's dad name it because he gave it to? I don't
Oh, there
know.
you
How far is this gonna go?
go.
It's
Yeah, you
really good though. Like it looks so like black on the outside. Looks like most people would start throwing it away when there are like dots on it, right? This one, the
right.
whole thing is like black and a little crusty and dry, but the
Wow.
inside's like so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally tastes like melted syrup, like melted brown sugar.
Wow.
Like crazy. Yeah.
That's great. Let's see here. Serena asked, does
Mhm.
Wendy grow Vietnamese garlic?
Oh, I
Vietnamese
don't know.
garlic.
Is it like the onion garlic thing that you ferment?
Not even sure. I've
Can you
never had.
let me see what thing. I don't know if that's the one she's referring to. If so, then yes. Oh, that and so there's a kind we call I think it's called gu kiu in Vietnamese,
Yeah.
and around like Lunar New Year, it usually takes place between like a January or February. That's also the time when they sort of like they start harvesting these onions or garlic. It has like a smell of leek, garlic, and onions, kind of like
Okay.
blends together. And the bulbs doesn't get very big. It's about
Okay.
this size. It's like almost like a little elongated shallot or something.
Right. Right.
And they don't need to be cold stratified, so it's super cool. Especially
Oh,
in
okay.
Southern California, like now is also a good time to be growing them, and you grow them for like about maybe 6-7 months until the plant sort of like dies back. You can also pull them up
Okay.
and check if the bulb gets big enough. And we love to ferment them or pickle them, so it's a
Okay.
little bit like a sugary, salty vinegar, or you can
Mm.
add a little bit of spices in there to really spice it up. And it's just like stays really crunchy, and the taste, it's like I said, the blend of those three things, but a little more mild. So you can kind of have that as like a side dish. It's just kind of like freshens up your palate when you're eating other foods or heavy foods.
Yeah.
And they grow in clumps. So
Oh,
they're kind of like a bunching onion,
more
very
of close.
similar.
So they're just more of like a singular bulb versus a garlic having separated clove.
Yeah. So one would just have like a few that grows around that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's super cool. I love that plant. It took me years to find like the correct variety. I kept growing different ones from bulbs, from seeds, from plants, or from seeds, and they all came out different. And I'm like, this is it. This is
Yeah.
it. Because like you buy the ones in the jars, there's like preservatives in it, and like they bleach
Right.
it or something to get them super white. Yeah. So I don't
Another
know.
good reason to be
Yeah.
growing your own is you
Exactly.
never
The
know
ones
what
you
you're
can't really
getting with
buy
that
out
processed
here.
stuff.
Yep. So I don't know if that's the one that she's referring to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's definitely
Hope that
awesome. She
answered the
also,
question.
yeah, she also asks, does Wendy do live stream Q&A on her channel? I don't
Should
know.
I?
I don't know if I've seen
Should
you
I
do a
be?
live
I
stream.
know. I'm so nervous. Should I be doing that? I'll have you as my first guest.
There you go. You should definitely. I'd definitely jump on with
That
you
would
for
be
sure.
fun, isn't it? Yeah, I haven't done
Yeah.
it yet, but I should.
Yeah, you can do kind of what John does, except for John doesn't do his live. He does
Yeah, I
like a
was like,
thing
what?
where he says like, "Hey, I'm gonna film a
Oh
Q&A
yeah,
and gets everybody to
yeah.
submit questions ahead of
Mhm.
time and all that." You could just tell everybody, "Hey, we're doing a Q&A at this time or
Yeah.
something." Go on
Live would be
live.
kind of fun. Yeah, they get
Yeah,
to actually
always so fun
interact.
to
Yeah.
interact with everybody and have everybody in your chat
Ooh.
talking and all of that. It's one of the fun things about doing this show is having everybody there
Mhm.
and being able to ask questions live of everybody
Yeah.
is awesome.
Well, Serena, I hope you'll be there when I do the live.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. Yeah, and for
Especially
everybody
when
else.
you're the
Yep. And for everybody else too, you definitely want to get down in the description below. We got a link to Wendy Land on YouTube there that you want to check out her show. Also, you can go to wendyland.com and check out all of the great plants and everything as she gets them restocked on her website there, as well as this really awesome tea that should be coming up soon as well.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, right
Return
on.
once I have that tea.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, again, it's really so awesome to get together with you anytime when it comes to hang out and talk about gardening and growing and all of that. And just really awesome also to catch up with you and what you had going on your trip there to Vietnam. Just so much awesome
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. So again, thank you so much for spending your time on this Saturday and hanging out with us.
Thank you. It's been a lovely day and it's so much fun. So thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for all your questions.
Yeah, and again too, we'll have to have you back again here real soon. And I was thinking about that right before you came on. I was like, yeah, that's right. Wendy was our very first guest for the show. How about
Yeah.
that? It's so great to have you back on. Let's see here. All right. Well, we'll catch up with you here real soon, Wendy. And
Mhm.
again, thank you so much. And everybody, like I said, get down in the description there and go and check out Wendy's channel at Wendy Land on YouTube, and go check out one of her videos and leave her a comment on the video and tell her and let her know that you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Wendy. All right, everybody. What a great show. Another great show with a couple of really awesome guests today. It was really, really fun talking with Leighton Morrison from It's All About the Biology. You'll definitely want to go if you're really interested in soil and what's going on inside of our soil and all of that, you've definitely got to go check out what they're doing over there on that channel and some of their live streams. Just some really fascinating stuff. Like I said, I just watched one of their more recent ones where he had a guest on, and they were right in the microscope just checking out all of these really cool little nematodes and things that are moving around inside of your soil. And it's just so fascinating to know and understand all of that sort of stuff, which really is important to growing our gardens and growing really healthy plants, is really understanding about soil maintenance and soil care. So that's a really great place to go check that out, as well as talking with our good friend from our very first guest of the show, Wendy from Wendy Land. So definitely go and check them out below in our description. We've got links there for everybody. And like I mentioned too, we also had a really great weekend. Last weekend on the show, we were talking all about beekeeping. We had some really wonderful beekeepers on the show. Last Saturday, we talked with Cayman Reynolds from Tennessee's Bees. That was such fun talking about all the sort of things that he's got growing on with his beekeeping channel, and learning about all of these really cool different varieties of honey and all of that. And as well, we got to meet Jonathan Hargis from the Hive Doctor, which was really, really fun. And then for our Sunday edition of the show, we were talking with Larissa Kwozak from Beekeeping Made Simple. So we had just a fun time talking about all the bees. And like I said, on our Sunday edition of the show, I did go and visit our Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association. I got to put on a bee suit and got to hang out with all of these bees and beehives and everything. It was just amazing, especially for me. Like I've told people, I had a major fear of bees. And so it was so really great, as learning more and more about pollinators and the importance of our gardens through my gardening experience over the years. It was really great to finally get together with the Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association and check out all of their hives in person. It was really, really fun. And also remember too, we are here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the Urban Gardener channel. And tomorrow, for our Sunday edition of the show, we're going to be talking with the Garden Party Podcast, the guys from the Garden Party Podcast. We've got Destin Noak from Texas Garden Guy and Phil from Phil's Figs. These two co-host their own live stream show on the Texas Garden Guys channel called the Garden Party Podcast. Those guys have a bunch of fun, and And it's going to be really great to catch up with them tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And as I mentioned too at the beginning of the show, I'm going to start promoting this already. We're about a month away, but you got to come and hang out with me on Halloween if you're just hanging out at the house and you're just handing out treats to all the kids coming around and everything. You got to come and hang out with us for our special Halloween hangout live stream where we're going to watch, and we've done this for several years now. This is an Urban Gardener tradition each year on Halloween to get together and we watch the original 1960s classic, The Little Shop of Horrors. And we also, get together for some really great conversation and all of that, as well as we watch, and if everyone wants to hang out even further, we also watch a really great theatrical version of The Little Shop of Horrors as well too. So that's a really fun yearly annual tradition that we do here on the Urban Gardener channel. So I hope that all of you will have already got the link put on our homepage for the channel too, so you can go and set a reminder for that. And then also too, you'll want to come and check out next week and next Saturday on the show. We are going to be doing an interview. And again, this will be a pre-recorded interview because Charlie McGee from Formidable Vegetable is they're from Australia. So we're going to get together this week and I'm going to record an interview with Charlie. And they just do some if you love music and you love gardening, you're going to want to check out this show. Charlie is even going to hopefully have his instrument with him and perform a couple of songs for us as well too on the show next week. And so that's going to be really, really fun. And then for the Sunday edition of the show, we are going to invite another beekeeper on, but we're going to center our conversation a little bit more about native bees and pollinators and all of that sort of stuff too as well. So I've been really looking forward to talking with Robin Jones from Honey Girl Grows, and we're going to just dig deep into a little bit more, just another aspect of beekeeping and some of those things that we need to be thinking about with beekeeping, climate change, and natives and native bees and all that sort of stuff. And I'm also going to go and visit here this week, and we'll have a little video of that next Sunday. A little organization here in Southern Oregon called the Pollinator Project, and we're going to talk also just a little bit more about the importance of taking care of and helping our native bees, as well as, everybody loves, those honeybees and all of that. But those native bees are really, really important. So we're really going to dig in and talk a lot about that on our next Sunday edition of the show. So I really look forward to seeing all of you guys there. And we're going to have a lot more really great conversations. And if you can, right here at the end of the show, definitely click that thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the bell notification to be notified of our upcoming live streams and videos. And of course, share with all of your friends. And if you do, and if you can as well too, down in the description, I have a link to our Facebook group on Facebook, and it's appropriately named the Let's Get Growing group. And you can come and join with us there to continue the gardening conversation right there on our group, and also share some of your pictures and videos of your gardens. It's a great way for me to get a chance to see what you all have growing on. So definitely come and join with us all over at the Urban Gardeners Let's Get Growing group on Facebook. And we have that and all of the links for all of that stuff and our awesome guests right down below in the description. And again, too, such a great show today. And we'll have a great show again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That will be 2 p.m. Eastern for everybody for our Sunday edition of the show. And I'll see all of you then.